Is this working? There it goes. This is the last question of the debate before we open it to student questions. We have just this one last question. One of the problems with Ogden is the odor produced by firms that offend residents. What is your assessment of the city odor ordinance? Would you pursue any policy changes? And if so, which changes would you specifically pursue?
You've given me a stinky question. I mean, I don't know what to say. It was kind of comical when it came to the council. You know, we deal in some issues that I don't like to talk about, but this one was one that I thought, well, I guess if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. And I understand the value of the dog food factory, and I do understand that we do have jobs in Ogden. We do have people who work there, and I do think we need to maintain them. I actually had a person call me and say, Susie, I want to be on the odor committee. And I thought, I have reached the epitome of a city council person. You know, I don't know what else I can say about it. I just know that the city has had a lot of difficulty with it. The city has worried about it. Some days you smell it, some days you don't. But the fact of the matter is there needs to be some way to gauge the process. There needs to be some way to find out what can we do so that when we build condos downtown, people can still live in their homes and not have the odor.
I have the rest of her time because I have a lot to say about this.
I bet you do.
The ordinance was recently passed, and there was a 90-day window for them to comply before we could start issuing citations and warnings and all those things that are in the ordinance. And so that's expiring now. So we're about to the point where we'll start to have penalties that can be assessed. And the way that it works is there's a thing called a nasal ranger, and it looks like a blowhorn, but you put it on your nose, and I'm serious. And you have this big contraption that goes out, and you sniff it. And we do need a committee of people that are willing to go out. This is a true story. The ordinance requires a committee to go and sniff to see if there's an odor, and if they can smell the odor, then we can issue a citation. The challenge has been we haven't had enough people sign up, and so we need that name, Susie. But we're also starting what we call a Junior Nasal Ranger program. And we're hoping you will all sign up. Thanks.
We're going to have closing statements.
You're going to do what?
Closing statements first.
I guess my closing statement is that I am very pleased to be here, and I am very encouraged by the number of people who showed up for this meeting. When I decided to run I didn't run for the city council, I was appointed, but you have to understand how that happened. And that happened because I was sitting at home reading the same newspaper articles that you were reading. I was asking the very same questions to myself. What's going on? Is this really true? What's happening? How do you get to the bottom of what is going on? So I determined the best thing I could do was put my face forward and go out and try out for the council seat. When I made my application, there were 5 of us, and I thought, yeah, you might have a chance. But when I woke up the next morning in the paper, there were 39 of us. And in my opinion, some of them that were very, very qualified, extremely qualified people. After the first go-round of questions, and I was number 31, I thought, what can I say? They've already said it. So maybe that was to my advantage. But then after that particular term of looking at the questions and answers, the answer period, I woke up the next morning and found my name in the paper, and I was one of 5. And out of that 5, I was unanimously voted to the city council, which I think says a lot for me and my character, because I don't think the council's ever agreed on anything, or maybe never will. My platform has been bring the soul back to Ogden. Sensible, open, unified leadership. It's just very simple. Maybe it's too simple. But if we don't have a sensible government that we can understand what's going on, have knowledge brought to us where we have expectations, where we know what's coming, and that the community is informed, then we don't have a good government. Openness, everybody needs to know. You need to know, I need to know. I want you to know. That's why I'm doing this. You need an open government where everybody knows exactly what's happening. We won't always agree, and I don't want us to always agree. That's the good thing about an open government. Unified government, we need to talk to everybody. We're not in this by ourselves. We have Weber State that's in our city. We are in a county that's very viable right now. But if you know what, if we don't look at the whole picture and present a unified front, then nobody wants to talk to us. I go to Washington, D.C., and we start talking about transportation. And you know what they say? They said, Susie, if you all aren't on the same page, we're not going to be giving you any money. If we think that our concerns that we are addressing here in Ogden are just Ogden concerns, you're wrong. It goes from here to the state capitol. It goes to the county. We need to all of us talk and discuss our issues together.
I said everything I have to say, so I had to bring up some notes to read off of now. I think this has been an exciting time for the community of Ogden. Once again, if we look back to 7 years ago and where we're at, 8 years ago maybe, when I ran for the first time, one of the reasons that compelled me to run for mayor was because as I graduated from college, and as my friends and family graduated from college, none of them stayed in the area. None of my siblings live in Ogden. They all had to go outside to find jobs. How many of your family and friends, as they've graduated from Weber State or wherever they've been doing, have been able to stay in this community? We need to have a community that provides the opportunity for people to stay and prosper in our own hometown if you choose to do so. So we've had a lot of work we need to do in order to get there. So once again, in the past 7 years, we have brought more than 7,000 new jobs to Ogden. Now, these aren't jobs that just happened because Bob's Tire Shop expanded and added a third person. These 7,000 jobs are jobs that we actively recruited to come to this community. And these jobs had to pay 130% of the average salary of Weber County, or we didn't go after them. Some of these companies have paid much more than that. Most of the ski companies are paying 2 to 2.5 times the average salary of Weber County. So we're bringing not only livable wages to this community, but wages that will provide disposable incomes for families so that they have time to recreate, so they have disposable money to do the things that they want to do as families. We've been cleaning up the downtown, removing the blight, the decay, the empty buildings, and filling them back up with stores. If you go downtown right now, you'll see the Junction and the new stores that are popping up there. We're going to go to the east side of Washington next. You'll see those old stores return to their old glory. We'll be parking in back of them, and you'll see retailers once again filling the streets of Washington Boulevard so that we can have the experience that I've only heard of, where you used to be able to go downtown and shop. You could take your family and go window shopping and have a variety of specialty retail stores in the downtown area. That is in the process of happening right now. When I took office, the total tax base of Ogden was $2 billion. The investment that we've brought to down, as I mentioned earlier, is $1.1 billion. All these projects aren't complete, but they will be over the next several years. As that hits our tax rolls, that means $8 million of new income for our schools. It means that our tax base obviously has grown by 50% so that there's less pressure on you, the homeowner. We have gone from a town that was viewed as the old railroad town to a town that places like National Geographic called an old-time railroad hub turns outdoor nexus. Wall Street Journal called us one of the most exciting cities that's turning into a ski company town. This is a time where we can redefine and reshape our community for the next generation.